Sorry, who's next? Sorry.
I'm being pushed out of line for some reason. I guess CBC is allowed to ask questions now. You have talked about
Sometimes we like to hear from local media.
Do you believe the government's promise of $155 billion in counter tariffs is enough? And what would you do differently to get the president to change course? And to clarify your last question, are you saying that you would step aside and not compete for the head of the country to allow us to get through this crisis? Or I'm unclear about your answer to the last question.
Well, I find it a strange question. Your CBC is asking me to step aside in the next election. It's a very strange request. No, we're not going to suspend democracy. The Canadian people run this country, and they will choose the next Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Next question.
Thank you. Next question.
Thomas Seal from Bloomberg. You mentioned the economic jeopardy for American refinery workers in your remarks. Is Canada's negotiating position today still weakened without the prospect of restrictions or export taxes on its biggest export by far, energy and crude oil?
Well, I think the reason that Justin Trudeau has refused to answer that question, and the reason why numerous Quebec leaders have, surprisingly, to some might be surprised to learn, have come out against it, is because it's not clear how Western oil would actually make it to Quebec, given that the oil we transport from Western Canada to Quebec goes through the United States, goes down into the States through lines 5 and 9 and back up to Quebec. Of course, Eastern Canada has to import a lot of Eastern American oil because we don't have a transnational pipeline. Furthermore, we don't export any of our natural gas to any country other than the United States because the government here has blocked LNG export plants. So the question then becomes, where else would we export our oil and gas? And I think we're all starting to realize just how absolutely reckless it was for Mr. Carney, Ms. Freeland, Mr. Trudeau to block pipelines and other resource projects that would have made us less reliant on the United States. And so all of these suggestions of blocking Canadian energy exports have to be followed up with a question. Where else would you sell our resources? Yeah, right, but we have nowhere else to sell it. So that is the question that, these are the questions that have to be answered. So far, the Prime Minister has said that he does not want to divide the country by attacking one industry in one region against the other, and I actually commend him for those remarks, and I agree with him on that.
This will be the final question.
Alex Zoltan, True North. Question is, do you believe that tit-for-tat tariffs with the United States could lead to a trade war that Canada cannot win?
Well, I believe we're already in a trade war, and I believe no one will win. I think both countries will lose. And that's my message to our American friends. Why? Why would you want both of our countries to lose a trade war when we have the most successful trading, security, and geographical relationship that any two countries have ever had in the history of the world? Why would you want us to lose, both of us? Because that's what's going to happen. This will make America poorer, weaker, and less safe. Will Canada lose? Of course. We're both going to lose. So let's stop losing on both sides of the border. Let's hammer out our differences and actually trade more. That would be a winning solution to all of this, and that is the message that I will bring as we put Canada first. Thank you very much.